Hello students, in this video we are going to study our next chapter, chapter number 6. The chapter name is Combustion and Flame. Class 8, Subject Science NCERT. Before that, the extra exercise for chapter number 5, that is coal and petroleum, is there in your study material. You have to write those exercise. If you have doubt, then we will study later in the video. Now here we are starting our next chapter, chapter number 6, Combustion and Flame. In this chapter we are going to classify the substance into combustible and non-combustible substance. Then after we will get information about how to control fire, and we come to know about the different calorific values of different kind of fuel. So now let me start our chapter number 6. We use different kinds of fuel for various purposes at home, like in industries for running automobiles. So now can you name some fuels used in our homes? Like someone is using LPGs, then after someone is using wood, someone is using coal as a fuel in their houses. Name a few fuels used in trade and industries. So in industries you can say that coal, then after charcoal is used as the fuel. What fuels are used for running automobiles? So we know that in automobiles like two-wheelers, scooters, we are using petrol or diesel, or nowadays CNG is also used in the vehicles. So your list may contain fuels like cow dung, then after wood, coal, charcoal, petrol, diesel, CNG, that means compressed natural gas, etc. So these all are the one kind of fuels. You are familiar with burning of a candle. You know that the burning of candle process, and what is the difference now between this burning of a candle and burning of a fuel like coal? Maybe you were able to guess that candle burns with a flame whereas coal does not. Coal does not burns with the flame. Similarly, you will find many other materials which are burning without a flame. Let us now study the chemical process of burning and these different types of flame produced during this process. So now let me first know what is combustion. So here it is given to you. Recall for that one activity of burning of magnesium ribbon which is performed in the class 7, and in the previous chapters we had also seen the burning process of magnesium ribbon. We learned that this magnesium ribbon burns to form magnesium oxide, and at that time when it burns it produces heat and light. Here in the figure it is shown to you. It produces heat and light. So we can perform this similar activity with a piece of charcoal. For that you have to hold a piece of charcoal with a pair of tongs, and then after you have to bring it near the flame of candle or a Bunsen burner. So then after you have to observe, so you will find that the charcoal burns in the air, and we know that the coal also burns in the air to produce carbon dioxide, heat and light, but at that time it will not produce flame. So the process after this activity, we can say that the chemical process in which the substance react with oxygen to give off heat, so that process is known as the combustion. The process or chemical process by which the substance react with oxygen, and during this process if heat is released, then that process is known as the combustion. And the substance which undergoes the combustion is said to be combustible. Here in our case the magnesium ribbon, then after charcoal and coal is the combustible, or it can also be said the fuel. It can be also called a fuel. This fuel may be either solid, liquid or gaseous, and sometimes light is also given off during this combustion, either as a flame or as a glow. We had seen that heat is released or produced during this process, and sometimes with this heat light is also produced during this combustion as a flame or otherwise as the glow. So now in the reactions mentioned above, the magnesium and charcoal, as we had seen, these are the combustible substance. So now Bujaho is saying something that we were told that food is a fuel of our body. So Paheli is saying that yes, this Bujaho is right. In our body, food is broken down by reaction with oxygen and heat is produced. In our body also, the food is react with oxygen and it is broken down into its simpler form, and during this process heat is produced. So this one you had studied in standard 7. So in our body we can say that food is a fuel for our body. So now let we see our first activity of this chapter, activity number 6.1. For this you have to collect some materials like straw, then after matchsticks, kerosene oil, paper, iron nail, stone pieces, glass, etc. And then after you have to do not have to try this activity at your home. You had already observed this kind of things. So then after we had to burn these materials one by one, and if the combustion take place then we have to mark this object as the combustible, otherwise we have to mark this object as the non-combustible substance. So here the table is given to you, combustible and non-combustible substance. The name of the different materials are given to you. The first one is wood. So we can say we had seen already that wood can be burned. So this one is the combustible substance. Next is paper. So paper is also combustible substance. Next one is iron nail. So iron nail is non-combustible substance. Next one is kerosene oil. This can be burned, so it is the combustible substance. Then after next one is stone piece. It cannot be burned, so this one is the non-combustible substance. Like that, straw can be burned, so it is the combustible substance. Charcoal can be burned, it is also combustible substance. Matchstick is the combustible substance, and glass is the non-combustible substance. So this is the differentiation between combustible and non-combustible substance. Now can you name some more substances which are combustible, and you can also add those objects or materials into this table, like cloth. So cloth is the combustible substance. Then after broomstick, it is also the combustible substance. Now let us investigate the condition which are required for this combustion to take place. So for that, next activity, that is activity number 6.2 is given to you to check what are the conditions are necessary for this combustion. And during this process or this activity, you have to be careful while handling the burning candle. So for that, first you have to fix a lighted candle on a table, and then after you have to put a glass chimney over this candle, and you have to raise it on the few wooden blocks in such a way that the air can enter in the chimney. Here it is shown to you in the figure first one. Like this, these two wooden blocks are there, and because of these two wooden blocks the air can be enter into this glass chimney. Then after observe what happens to the flame. Then after remove these blocks and then let the chimney rest on the table, like this one figure. Now you have to remove these wooden blocks, and again you have to observe the flame, and at the end you have to put the glass plate over the chimney like this figure C, and again you have to watch the flame. So what happens in these three cases that you have to observe. So does the flame flicker off, or you can say unsteady, and does the flicker and give smokes, or does it burn unaffected? So you have to answer this all question. Can you infer anything at all about the role played by this air in this burning process? So you will observe that in the first case the candle burns freely when the wooden blocks are there. In the second one, the flame of the candle flickers, that means it will be unsteady and it will produce the smoke. And in the third case, in this figure C, you can see that the flame of the candle is put off. So from this we can say that air can enter the chimney from the below and the candle burns freely. and when air does not enter the chimney from the below, the flame of the candle flickers and produce smoke. And when air is not available, the flame of the candle is put off. So we can say that air is necessary for the process of combustion to take place. Here the observation is also given to you that we find that for the combustion, air is necessary in the first case when air can enter and the chimney from the below. In case B, air does not enter from the below and the flame flickers and produce smoke. And in the case C, flame finally goes off because air is not available in the chimney. Now Bujo has one question that we have read that the sun produces its own heat and light. So is it also some kind of combustion? So here it is given to you the fact that in the sun, heat and light are produced by nuclear reactions. In the sun, this heat and light is produced by some nuclear reaction, and that you will learn in the higher classes how this reaction happen. Now here next activity number 6.3 is given to you. For that you have to place a piece of burning wood or charcoal or an iron plate on tawa. You have to put wood or charcoal on the tawa, and then after you have to cover it with a glass jar or a tumbler or a transparent plastic jar. And then after you have to observe what happens. Does this charcoal stop burning after some time? And can you think of the reason why that it stops? So yes, we will observe that the wood or charcoal stops burning. So the reason behind that is by placing the glass jar, air is not available for charcoal and or the burning wood, and it will stop burning. As in the previous activity we had already seen that for the burning process air is required. Here the another example is also given to you that you might have heard that when the clothes of a person catch fire, the person is covered with a blanket to extinguish the fire. Here it is shown to you in the figure. Now can you guess that why he is covered with the blanket? So now recall some of your experiences. Does the matchstick burn itself or how does it burn? So this man is covered with blanket to cut off the supply of air. As we had seen, in the burning process the air is necessary. So to cut off the supply of the air, by cutting this supply we can extinguish the fire. So for that we are covering a person with the blanket whose clothes catch fire. Here one interesting thing about the forest fire is given to you. During extreme heat of summer, at some places dry grasses catch fire, and from this grass it spreads to the tree, and at the end very soon the whole forest is on fire, which is known as the forest fire. In this picture it is shown to you, and it is very difficult to control such kind of forest fires. And if you are listening in the news, then you will observe that nowadays such kind of incidents are happening around us, and it is very difficult to control this kind of fire. It may last for some days, some months, or even for some years also. Now recall some of your experiences. Does a matchstick burn by itself? How does it burn? You know that by rubbing, or we have to rub the matchstick with the box. So you must have had an experience of burning a piece of paper. Does it burn when a burning matchstick is brought near it? So yes, if we will bring the burning matchstick near a paper, it will burn. So can you burn a piece of wood by burning a lighted matchstick near it? So no, we cannot easily burn the wood by only bringing a lighted matchstick near this wood. For that we require paper as well as kerosene oil. So why do you have to use paper or kerosene oil to start fire in wood or coal? So have you heard about this forest fire that we had seen? What is forest fire? So here the reason is given to you next why we need kerosene oil or paper or lighted matchstick to burn the different kind of objects. So do these experiments and tell you that different substances catch fire at different temperature. This is the reason that why we need kerosene oil and paper to burn the wood or lighted matchstick to burn the paper. The different substances burn at the different temperature. So the lowest temperature at which this substance catches fire is called its ignition temperature. The temperature or the lowest temperature at which the substance catch fire is known as the ignition temperature of that substance. So now can you tell why a matchstick does not catch fire on its own at the room temperature? Yes, because its ignition temperature is not at the room temperature, that's why. So why does the matchstick starts burning on rubbing it on the side of the matchbox? So by burning or by rubbing the matchstick on the side of the matchbox, we are increasing the temperature of the matchstick. So it will reach to its ignition temperature and at the end it will start burning. We find that a combustible substance cannot catch fire on burn as long as its temperature is lower than its ignition temperature. If its ignition temperature is not reached, then it will not burn. So now, have you ever seen cooking oil catching fire when a frying pan is kept for longer on a burning stove? If you had noticed, then this is happening in the kitchen, that cooking oil is there in the pan and frying pan, and it will start burning for if it is kept on a stove for a longer time. And kerosene oil and wood do not catch fire on the room temperature, because at the room temperature its ignition temperature is not reached, so that's why they will not catch fire on their own. But if the kerosene oil is heated a little, it will catch the fire, but if wood is heated a little, it would still not catch fire. This is here the comparison is given to you between kerosene oil and wood. If we will heat little one to the kerosene oil, then it will catch fire, but if we will heat wood a little one, then it will not catch fire. So by this we can say that the ignition temperature of kerosene oil is lower than that of wood, and it means that we need to take special care of storing kerosene oil as its ignition temperature is lower. The following activity shows that it is essential for the substance to get ignition temperature to burn. Here one activity is given to you to get to know what is the importance of this ignition temperature. Before that, here one history of the matchstick is given to you. So let me now see this. The history of the matchstick is very old. More than 5,000 years ago, small pieces of pine wood dipped in sulfur. Pine wood, that is a wood of one kind of tree which is known as the pine. So this pine wood dipped in a sulfur and were used as the matchstick in the ancient Egypt. And the modern safety match was developed only about 200 years ago. So now let me see what is there in the modern safety match. So the mixture of antimony trisulfide, potassium chlorate and white phosphorus with some glue starch was applied on the head of the match to make the suitable wood. And when struck against the rough surface, that is side of matchbox, white phosphorus got ignited. That means its temperature get increased due to the heat of friction. And this is started the combustion of matchstick. However, this white phosphorus proved to be dangerous for both of the workers as well as user of this matchstick. Workers which are involving in the manufacturing of these matchsticks. So now these days, the head of the safety match contains only this antimony trisulfide. Antimony, that is a kind of metallic sulfide. So this antimony sulfide and potassium chlorate, the head of the matchstick is made up of these two kind of substance. And rubbing the surface has powder glass, and the rubbing surface, or that means side of the matchbox, has the powder glass and the little one red phosphorus, which is less dangerous as compared to the white phosphorus. And when the match is struck against this rubbing surface, some red phosphorus gets converted into the white phosphorus. And this immediately reacts with potassium chloride in the matchstick head to produce enough heat to get ignition temperature or to reach the ignition temperature. And this antimony trisulfide start the combustion process. This is how the matchstick works. So this is the history of the matchstick. Now let me see the activity number 6.4. Here you have to be careful while handling the burning candle. In the burning activities you have to be careful. Do not use directly your hand, use the pair of tongues. Make 2 paper cups. For this activity you have to make 2 paper cups by folding a sheet of paper, and then after pour about 50 ml of water in one of the cups, and then after heat this both of the cups separately with a candle. Here it is shown to you, and you have to observe what is happening. In the one of the cup you have to pour 50 ml of water. So you have to answer that what happens to the empty paper cup, what happens to the paper cup with water, and does water in this cup become hot? So after this activity you will observe that the empty paper cup starts burning and the paper cup which is filled with water does not burn, and water in this cup will become hot. So we can say that by heating paper cup which is filled with water, water will absorb the heat, so that the ignition temperature of paper is not reached and it does not burn. So that's why the paper cup which is filled with water will not burn. And if we continue this heating the cup, we can even boil the water in this paper cup. So now can you think of an explanation for this phenomena that we had already seen in the conclusion of this activity, that ignition temperature is not reached, that's why the paper which is filled with water will not burn. Now the heat supplied to the paper cup is transferred to the water by the conduction. We had seen that one. So in the presence of water, the ignition temperature of paper is not reached and it will not burn. The substance, now here the one kind of substance is given to you. The substance which have very low ignition temperature and can easily catch fire with a flame. So those kind of substance are known as the inflammable substance. The substance which has very low ignition temperature and they can catch fire easily with a flame. So those kind of substance are known as the inflammable substance. The example of such kind of substance are petrol, diesel, alcohol, liquefied petroleum gas, that means LPG, etc. Other than that, CNG is also inflammable substance, that is compressed natural gas. So here till now we had seen the combustion process. Now the question is that how do we control fire? If the fire, anything or any material catch the fire, then how can we control this fire? So you must have seen or heard of fire breaking out in homes, shops and factories. And if you have seen such an accident, write a short note description in the notebook. You can share this with your friends. What is happen over there or what? And then after find the telephone number of fire service of your area, and if the breaks out in your house or if the fire breaks out or fire anything catch the fire in your house or in your neighborhood, you can call the fire services. And it is also important that you have to know the telephone number of the fire services. This is your homework. You have to find the number of the fire service of your area. Now the incident where we were talking that if anything catch the fire, so does your city or town have a fire brigade station? And when a fire brigade arrives, what does it do? You already know about this. We had seen a fire mock drill in our school. So you already know that when the fire brigade arrives and what does it do. So it pours first water on the fire, as it is shown to you here in the figure. They pour water on the fire and water cools the, why they are doing so? So because the water cools combustible material so that its temperature is brought below the ignition temperature of that substance, and this one prevents the fire from spreading. And water vapors also surround or make a cover to these combustible materials, which helps to cutting off the supply of air, and at the end the fire will extinguish. And you have learned that there are 3 essential requirements for producing fire, and here the list of that is given to you. Fuel, air to supply oxygen, and heat to rise the temperature of the fuel beyond the ignition temperature. So fire can be controlled by removing one or more of these requirements out of these 3. A job of fire extinguisher is to cut off the supply of air, or to bring down the temperature of the fuel, or to reduce the temperature of the fuel, or they can do both of the things. And here you have to notice that the fuel is in the most of the cases cannot be eliminated, or we cannot remove the fuel. Because if, for instance, a building catches fire, then the whole building is the fuel. Whole building starts working as the fuel. So that's why we cannot remove the fuel. So that's why the fire extinguishers are trying to cut off the supply of air. Here, how to control, or what are the equipments are used to control the fire is given to you, or to extinguish the fire is given to you. Here in the picture you can see this fire extinguisher or fire extinguisher cylinders. The most common fire extinguisher is water. They pour the water to extinguish the fire, but water works only when the things like wood and paper are on fire. And if the electrical equipment is involved in fire, if the fire is in electrical equipments, then water may conduct electricity, and at that time we cannot use water to extinguish the fire. It will harm those who are trying to douse the fire, or who are trying to extinguish the fire. Water is also not suitable for the fire which involves oil and petrol, because you already know that the water is heavier than the oil. So it will sink below the oil, and the oil will keeps floating on the water, and it keeps burning on the top of the water. That's why in the case of oil and petrol, the water is also not work as the fire extinguisher. So for fire involves electrical equipments and inflammable materials like petrol, then carbon dioxide at that time is the best fire extinguisher. Carbon dioxide gas is used as the fire extinguisher. CO2, or you can say carbon dioxide, being heavier than the oxygen, it covers the fire like a blanket. And since the contact between the fuel and the oxygen is cut off, the fire is controlled, or the fire can be extinguished. And the added advantage, or the more advantage of this CO2 is that in the most of the cases it does not harm the electrical equipments. So we can use it as the fire extinguisher. Now how do we get the supply of carbon dioxide? How we can supply the carbon dioxide at the place where the place catches the fire? So it can be stored at the high pressure as the liquid in cylinders. As we are storing LPG, or as the LPG is stored in the cylinders which we are using in our house. And when this gas released from the cylinder, the CO2 expand enormously, or it will expand limitlessly in volume, and it will cool down. So it not only forms a blanket around the fire, but it will also bring down the temperature of the fuel. As it cools down, it will bring down, or it will reduce the temperature of the fuel. That is why it is an excellent fire extinguisher. And another way to get this CO2 is to release a lot of dry powder of chemicals like sodium bicarbonate, that means baking soda, potassium, or the potassium bicarbonate. Or we can spread, or we can release a lot of dry powder of the chemicals which can release the carbon dioxide like baking soda, that is sodium bicarbonate, or potassium bicarbonate near the fire. This chemical gives off CO2, or these chemicals release the CO2. So this is how we can extinguish the fire. So till now in this chapter we had seen different kinds of fuel, what is the combustion, then after what are the requirements for this combustion process, and how we can control the fire. In the next video we will see the remaining part of this chapter. Thank you.